Hey, this is Warren. I said my full name. This is Warren from Honed by Jones. I think you can figure out my full name based on my business name and my first name. It is a Monday evening, and I am sharpening here in the garage workshop in Carson City, Nevada. We're going to be sharpening on the Tormek. I have an Opinel number 9, I believe this is. Yep, an Opinel number 9 that we'll be sharpening. It's got a little tiny bit of... Let's see if I can move the light around here so hopefully you can see this a little better. Let's try that. So it's got a little tiny bit of a broken tip. And so we're going to sharpen it and try to repair the tip. Maybe someone pried something with it. And then the other knife we're going to be sharpening is this Calamus, maybe? No. Camillus? I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. Maybe you know how to pronounce it, but I don't know how to pronounce it. So anyways, let's get started on sharpening these two knives. Probably sharpen this guy around 20 degrees. And the last time I was doing a live stream with the Tormek, someone mentioned that they like the new angle guide better. I also like the new angle guide. I have the old style angle guide, like this one here. And hey, Doug, I have the old style angle guide here, and I also have, or what am I talking about? I have the old style angle guide here, and I have the new angle guide as well. I just happen to use whichever one I grab out of the container. They both work well. I like how both of them work. I don't have any issues with either one. And honestly, with some knives, I find the old angle guide is a little easier to use. And with some, I find that the new angle guide is a little bit easier to use. So I do not have a preference either way. I will just use what lands in my hand most of the time. So let's get this guy set up. We're going to sharpen this one for the customer at 20 degrees. Perfecto. All right, let's lock that down. I added some extra magnets to the trough of my Tormek. I'm curious to see how this works. There's one little magnet in the front here, and then that was it, to collect the metal dust that falls off the wheel into the water. But I added another magnet on the side of the trough and on the side that's facing me. So I'm hoping that that creates a little cleaner water as I'm sharpening. We will find out. One of the cool things that I ordered for the Tormek is I ordered the 180 degree rotating base this week, so I'm excited for that to get here. Oh, and how's the sound out there? I have my Bluetooth headphones on because the sound quality tends to be really good if I use them. I'm not listening to a podcast or anything like that. And all right, Megan, thanks for the feedback. And yeah, so I'll keep those on for the live stream then. So I think I was about to say that, I was saying that I ordered the 180 degree rotating base. One of the reasons I ordered that is for doing live streams on the Tormek. I think it'll just be a lot easier. Right now I have to take the water trough off to lift the machine up and turn it around. The T8 is not a lightweight machine. So that rotating base will make things a lot easier. I thought about trying to figure out my own rotating base, but then I just decided to order the Tormek one. All right, we got 60 people or so in here already. Where is everybody? I know this is kind of a common cliche thing to say on a live YouTube, but where is everybody listening from or watching from? Really like the bevels that the Tormek leaves. Just gonna grab a towel. So soon I'm gonna have a new video coming out on the twice as sharp scissor sharpener. We got somebody from Memphis, Ocala, Florida. It looks like. Cool. Cool. I'm in Carson City, Nevada, which is just south of Reno, just east of Lake Tahoe. We are about a half an hour from each. So I sharpen here in my home workshop in Carson City, but I also sharpen at farmers markets. This last summer, I sharpened at the Incline Village Farmers Market up in Tahoe. I'll likely do that again this summer. And currently, I'm sharpening at the Reno Riverside Farmers Market every Sunday morning. It goes from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So today is actually like, for a lot of people, Saturday is their Saturday, if you know what I'm saying. But for me, Mondays are my Saturday because my work week stops on Sunday when I've finally gotten back home and unpacked everything, and it's about 3 o'clock. And then Monday becomes my Saturday. So Monday is my day that's probably the most relaxed day of the week for me. And then I tend to sharpen Tuesday through Saturday from my home workshop, and then do the farmer's market on Sundays. And then take Mondays pretty much off. Do you prepare for the purge? I do not. From the is that Rabai? I have no idea where that is. I like to think I'm pretty decent at geography, but I do not know where that is located. So this knife was not super dull, so it's almost ready to go. One thing I always like to show on these live streams, I feel like the tip is actually a little thicker than I want it to be, but other than that, the edge feels really good. I don't know, maybe this knife should just stay the... Sometimes I want to thin out a knife, but then I remember that it's a hard work knife. It's something that the person is using at their, construction job or whatever they're doing every day, where they actually want it to be robust. And so thinning it out is not actually a helpful thing for them. It's not always about cutting performance with the knife only. Sometimes it's about how sturdy it is as well, depending on what the person is using it for. There we go. I was not angling it up high enough, and I wasn't quite getting all the way through the tip, and that's why I thought it was not quite right. That looks a lot better. Same on the other side. Sometimes you have to go a little steeper angle than you think you might have to go to get that bevel just right. Yep, that's perfect. I've been rearranging my shop lately, and so every time I go to look for something, I have to look twice because, oh yeah, that's nice and sharp. Nice clean cut. Okay, so we haven't even stropped it yet, so it'll get better after we strop it. But everything looks beautiful. Bevel looks nice and clean and even. My buddy Vinny, the knife guy Reno was just doing a live. The reason I asked about the sound is my buddy Vinny, the knife guy Reno, was just doing a live stream and his sound stopped working midway through. So maybe I was a little nervous about sound when I started this live stream. All right, so that guy, we're gonna strop on the leather wheel of the Tormek, or we might do it on the buck tool behind me. We'll see. So this is an Opinel number 9. I'm not sure if anybody has ever used one of these knives before. They're great little pocket knives. I have had several myself over the years. I like these pocket knives because they're just so simple and so inexpensive, and they are very slicey. If you like if you're using a pocket knife for some kind of heavy use, this is not the right pocket knife for you. But if you're using it to open boxes, to open packages, maybe in the garden or something like that, then these Opinel pocket knives are great. They're lightweight. You hardly feel them at all in your pocket. They sharpen up really nicely. They end up with a really, fine, acute edge on them. The blade is really thin. I sound like I'm an Opinel salesman. I'm not, but I just happen to like these knives. As I mentioned earlier, the last time I did a live stream and I was using this angle guide, someone was saying, hey, you should use the new angle guide. And I have the new angle guide. I just, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, I have a box over here with all my Tormek small parts and jigs. And I tend to just reach over, and whichever angle guide hits my hand first, that's the one that goes, or that's the one that I tend to use. This Tormek has a tiny little broken tip. I think I mentioned that at the beginning of the live stream. Hopefully just sharpening it will... So what I mean by this is, I was going to say hopefully just sharpening it will take care of the... Okay, just want to make sure the jig wasn't going to hit the stone. What I mean is that you could also take, if you wanted to repair a tip, you could also take it over to the belt sander or to a whetstone or a diamond stone or something like that and use that to repair the tip. I'm hoping just the process of sharpening it and creating a nice new bevel will end up fixing the tip. And sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. In this case, I think it's going to work. So some Tormek thoughts. I've sharpened on this Tormek T8 for a while now. I bought this machine a while ago, and when I first got it, I didn't actually like it that much. One of the issues that people have with the Tormek is that they think it's too slow compared to the 3 belt sanders that I have behind me. And they're right. The Tormek is a much slower machine to sharpen on than my belt sanders. I mean, the belt sanders, you're talking minutes when you're talking about sharpening on those machines. And sometimes the Tormek can take quite a bit longer. Some of the advantages of the Tormek is that you notice I don't have to wear a respirator. I don't have to wear a mask of any kind, whereas when I'm using my belt sanders, I am always wearing, at the very least, an N95 mask like this. And more likely I'm wearing a respirator. I have this style of respirator here, which I wear sometimes, and then I just ordered a 3M quick latch respirator as well, and I'll probably stop using that one because I don't really like the way that one works so much. And the main reason I ordered the 3M respirator is that when I'm at the farmer's market, I have to stop and talk to people all the time. So I need a quick latch respirator that I can immediately pull down, have a conversation with a customer while I'm sharpening at the farmer's market in Reno or Tahoe, and then immediately put that mask back up and keep sharpening if I'm only going to be interrupted for a minute or so. I sharpen knives of all kinds, including serrated knives. I sharpen garden tools like loppers and pruners and bonsai shears. I sharpen scissors of all kind. I just got a new twice as sharp scissor sharpener, the professional model, last week. Have already figured out some new, so I'm going to come out with a new video soon. It might be the end of this year. It might be, oh my gosh, those Opinels get so sharp. It might be the end of this year. It might be the beginning of next year. But it's some tips for using the twice as sharp professional sharpener that I've never seen before. I've come up with some techniques and some tips that I think will be really helpful for people. So I look forward to that video coming out soon. So I was talking about the Tormek. What is great about the Tormek is the fact that it doesn't make dust, and that is fantastic. So what I'm going to use it for next year, early next year, there is, for example, there's a local wine and whiskey bar, and I've already talked about this place on the channel here in town in Carson City. They also serve small plates. And they approached me and they said, hey, we want to do they do these special events at the wine and whiskey bar. So they want to have like Italian wines, and they want to have salami cut up and cheese cut up. And they want me to go there for their customers and do live sharpening. I could never do that with my belt sanders. Too much noise, too much metal dust flying everywhere. It's just not something that's an option. Whereas with the Tormek, I can take it inside and sharpen inside this business, even while people are drinking and eating. And I have no problem sharpening in that situation. I've done it before at crafts fairs and other events like that, where I'm inside with all the other vendors. I have a booth to the right of me and a booth to the left of me. Here I am stuck in the middle again. And I have a booth to the left of me and a booth to the right of me. And I'm sharpening and they don't even notice. They're selling crafts or art to their customers, and they don't notice at all. They don't mind the sound of the Tormek. Most people actually like watching the Tormek. So I find that when I'm at an event like one of those crafts fairs or something else and I have the Tormek out, I will look up from sharpening and there'll be a man or a woman. Hey Chris, Merry Christmas. There'll be a man or a woman standing 10 feet away from me, 6 feet away from me, just watching. They don't even approach the table. They don't come up and say anything until I'm done, but they're just standing there watching me sharpen on the Tormek. And so what I see the Tormek as is, I see it as a very useful sharpener. I love the edge that it leaves. I love the bevel that it leaves. The look is just so refined and beautiful. And it does take a bit longer. But the way I use the Tormek, so I do whetstone sharpening as well. And the way I use the Tormek with the original stone is that I use it as my first stone in a whetstone sharpening progression. So this stone is made of the same type of material as, hold on, don't move, don't go anywhere. Let me grab a whetstone. So it's not the exact same material, but here, for example, is a Suihiro 1000 grit Japanese whetstone. I know it says 1200 on there, but that's just the numbering system that they use. So I will sharpen first on the Tormek just to establish a really nice bevel. And then when I go to my whetstones, like this 1000 grit Suihiro, or my 6000 grit Suihiro, or my Shapton glass stones, it's a much easier process because I've already established a nice clean bevel and a nice even profile to the knife on the Tormek. So that's another way that I use it. Let me put that whetstone away and get back over here. So I'm gonna take y'all along for the ride. I was going to, so I always like to test the sharpness before I even strop the knife. And look at that point now. That point is perfect now. It was chipped, but just a quick sharpening on the Tormek for just a few minutes. And that can't speak English. That tip is perfect now. Yeah, so that's just coming off the stone, and that's cool because a lot of people regrade the Tormek and change the grit of the Tormek. You can actually, one of the cool things about the Tormek is you can actually take a a stone like this that's two-sided, and you can actually effectively change the grit of this whetstone. I don't do that. I sharpen at the same grit all the time, and then if I want to go to a higher grit, I actually use a whetstone to go to a higher grit. I find that it causes the Tormek stone to wear down a lot slower if you're not regrading it all the time. There's a guy there's an Australian guy. You can check out his YouTube channel, or oh my god, maybe he's from New Zealand. That would be terrible, right? If I said he's Australian and he's actually from New Zealand, but I'm 99% sure he's Australian. His YouTube channel is I Sharpen, and he regrades his Tormek wheel all the time. And I'm not saying it's wrong. That's just his way of doing it. But what that means is he wears down his whetstone, his original grindstone a lot faster than I do, because I don't regrade it all the time. So that's why I choose not to do that. Let me grab another towel. I want to get one that's a little bit cleaner. So here we go. We did the grindstone sharpening. Now we're going to take off. So this is why I'm getting the 180-degree rotating base, because in order to show you guys this and do it the right way, I have to, I don't need to remove this bar, but I'm going to just because it'll be easier. So in order to get to this leather wheel spinning the correct direction, I could hold the knife like this. I find that extremely awkward. So what I'm going to do is turn the Tormek around so that it's facing the other way, so that I can actually strop like I want to strop. We're going to take a little, I'm trying out making my own, I Sharpen from Australia. All right, good. I'm glad I didn't say he was from New Zealand, or say he's from New Zealand when he's actually from Australia. So this is rubbing alcohol mixed with diamond powder to make a diamond emulsion for adding to the leather wheel. I'm going to change the bottle, though, because this little topper part is sticking. So instead of continuing to use a little spray bottle like this, I'm going to get some more of these bottles that I use for oil. And then I'm going to put my diamond emulsion in here. I think that will be better for applying the diamond emulsion without it spraying all over my machines. It'll be cleaner. I'll probably use a lot less. And hopefully it won't clog up at all like the spray bottle tip tends to do. All right, so let's strop these guys. We'll go with the Opinel first. Thanks everybody for being here this evening. If you feel like it, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be honest. I have, so my income is completely from knife sharpening. I used to work 30 hours a week at a garden center, at a plant center, whatever you want to call it. And then I sharpened on the side. And then in May, I switched to just sharpening. And here's my income streams that I'm aiming for. I sharpen at a farmer's market I sharpen at a farmer's market every Sunday in Reno. That's the Reno Riverside Farmer's Market. I also sharpen from my home workshop here in Carson City. I also have a Buy Me a Coffee page that I have had up for a while, but only recently really started saying anything about it or getting any donations to it. I think I've got 2 $5 donations to my Buy Me a Coffee page. And the other thing is, I'm probably in January going to be monetized on YouTube from having so many views and having, I think I'm almost to 900 subscribers. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, those are all in my current business plan, those are all my income streams. Farmers markets, sharpening at home, sharpening, I already said that. Farmers markets, sharpening at home, Buy Me a Coffee, and YouTube. Those are the plans. And so we'll see how it goes. So like I said, if you feel like liking and subscribing, like and subscribe, please. Rubbing alcohol. I clean every knife that I sharpen with rubbing alcohol, and then I wrap the knives up when I'm done with them in this brown, like perforated paper that I get off of Amazon. See, it does that when you pull on it. I find it gives a little more cushioning to the knives when I wrap them up to send them home than just straight butcher paper or something like that. So, oh yeah, a piece of paper almost fell into my Tormek. So that guy is really sharp, really clean cut, but you have to remember that the paper cut test is not just about how am I gonna say this? The paper cut test is affected by more than just how sharp the knife is. This other knife that I'm about to strop on the Tormek, which has here, I'll show you. This other knife, which has a much thicker blade. Wonder if you can see that. See how much thicker? Yeah, the dive bomb technique it takes a minute. So see how much thicker this knife is than this knife? So even if I get this knife just as sharp as this knife, this one's still gonna always slice through the paper and look a little bit cleaner and and cut a little bit better than this one likely will, just because this knife is so much thicker than this guy. So it's not just how sharp the edge is, that thickness of the knife behind the edge also affects how it's gonna cut through paper. But like I was saying, with this knife, this is a knife that a guy uses at work every day. He pries things with it. He cuts through heavy stuff. He's not looking for it to perform like that Opinel. He's looking for it to perform like this knife is supposed to perform. So a super common question that knife sharpeners get is, what angle should I sharpen a knife at? And there are so many different ways a knife is used. A butcher's knife, a sushi knife, a pocket knife that is used on a construction site, a hunting knife, a fishing knife. There is no answer to the question. Well, there's no one answer to the question, what angle should I sharpen a knife at? Because knives are different thicknesses, they are made of different steels, they are used for different things. It would be like saying, how many horsepower should I have in the engine of my car, right? And if you're using that car to do Grand Prix racing, you want it to have some kind of horsepower, right? But if you're using that car to just go down to the grocery store, then you don't want it to have you don't need it to have the same horsepower as F1 Formula racing, whatever they're called, Formula F1 racing cars. Like, you just don't need the same power, right? So when people talk about what angle a knife should be sharpened at, it's kind of like asking that same type of question. Anyway, those are the two knives that I've got to sharpen tonight. Thanks for hanging out in the live stream. Like I said, it's super helpful if you like and subscribe to my channel. There will be a lot more content coming in beginning in January. I was about to say this year, but next year in 2025, there'll be a lot more content coming, live streams, shorts. I'm always posting those, especially Tormek sharpening shorts, but also how-tos, also reviews of all the different machines I have. Because right now I have 3 belt sanders. I have the Tormek T8. I have a twice as sharp scissor sharpener, and I have 2 Edge Pro guided sharpeners, the Bevel Tech and the Apex. And I may be getting a Tormek I may be getting a Tormek T2 kitchen knife sharpener. I was sharpening at this crafts fair that I was telling you all about, and this guy walked up and he's like, "Oh, Tormek, I know those machines. I have a T2 kitchen knife sharpener at home that I don't use. Someone gave it to me as a gift, and I've sharpened 2 knives on it, and I prefer to use my Wicked Edge sharpener. Would you be interested in the Tormek?" Hey, Barney, the person said, "Would you be interested in the Tormek T2?" So I said, "Sure, I will check it out." So I offered him oh, the T2 is horrible. Okay, well, there we go. Barney says, "Don't." Well, hey, man, I'm getting it for trade for sharpening, so I'm not really worried about it being horrible. And I'm happy to try it out. I'm not going to spend my hard-earned cash on it, so you don't have to worry about that. But what I find is that every machine has its purpose, which is why I like the versatility of all the machines I have. It's why I like having whetstones. It's why I like having the belt sanders, the Tormek T8, the twice as sharp, the Edge Pro guided sharpener. So likely I'll be able to find some kind of use for that T2, especially if I don't end up paying cash for it. All right, this is Warren from Honed by Jones. I'm putting that on backwards. It is a Monday evening here in Carson City, Nevada. It was a beautiful day here. It got up to maybe 50 degrees or something like that. My biggest sharpening earner is having a knife leasing option. And someone else ordered the Buck Tool Slow Speed. All right, that's this guy right here. If y'all are wondering about the Buck Tool Slow Speed Sharpener. This was my first belt sander. It doesn't have a belt on it right now because I use primarily the leather stropping wheel. But this was my first belt sander, and it is my most recommended. You're starting a knife sharpening business. You want one machine to be able to do a whole bunch of different stuff. That's the machine I recommend over the Harbor Freight, over the Worksharp Kin Onion. I think this machine is just much more versatile and about the same price as the Worksharp, I believe, for the Kin Onion. A bit more expensive than the Harbor Freight, but you could run like a 400 or 600 grit belt on this side, and you could use a leather wheel on this side to strop with, or a felt wheel on this side to strop with, and you could have this one machine be your entire sharpening business. So to start out with, or to keep using forever that way. And then what else do we got? Let's see. Oh, it's back in stock. Yeah, the Buck Tool. I heard it went out of stock. The CNC, the most adaptable. Oh, you have a CNC machine. All right, $139 on Amazon. That's a good deal for the Buck Tool. I think I paid I might have paid $10 more when I bought it months ago. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look up the receipt. But $139 sounds like a great deal. All right, this is Warren from Honed by Jones. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Warren, the knife guy, Vinny from Reno. He's catching up on our messages. So I'm gonna keep going for a second. Vinny is a sharpener about a half an hour away from me. We are in direct competition with each other, and I always like to talk about this. We're in direct competition with each other. I sharpen in Reno once a week, which is where Vinny lives, and he has come down to the area where I live to sharpen. We get along great. We're close friends. We don't look at the world as a place where we have to like fight against our fellow business people. We try to collaborate. We try to refer customers to each other, and that's the way we like to do things. I will always talk about my fellow sharpeners' YouTube pages on Mortal Enemies. Yeah, I will always talk about my fellow YouTube sharpeners, or YouTube sharpener friends who have their own YouTube channels, like Sam at Sam's Mobile Massage. I just said Sam's Mobile Massage. So I used to be a massage therapist for 25 years. I did deep tissue massage, sports massage, therapeutic body work, and I had a mobile massage business. And so every time I go to say Sam's Mobile Sharpening, every other time I say Sam's Mobile Massage, and he is not a massage therapist. He is a sharpener. So Sam's Mobile Sharpening up in the Northwest, check out his channel. It's really great. Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening, Cliff Curry down in Hawaii has a really great channel that's very informative. There's just a lot of great sharpeners on YouTube. So if it's something you're interested in learning how to do, I studied sharpening in Yutuba, Japan. That is spelled Y-U-T-U-B-A, Yutuba, Japan. I studied there I'm kidding, there's no place. I don't think there's a place called Yutuba, Japan, but I just like to joke that that's where I studied, because when I first got into sharpening, I spent hours and hours and hours watching people on YouTube trying to learn how to sharpen on whetstones, and then took that information and went home or took that information and learned how to sharpen freehand on whetstones. And I always joke that I learned how to sharpen in Yutuba, Japan. Anyways, this is Warren from Honed by Jones. I keep trying to get off this live stream and I keep talking, but this time I mean it. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a buy me a coffee page if I'm putting out information about the Tormek that you find informative, about the Twice as Sharp, the Edge Pro machines, any of the belt sanders I use, the Kalamazoos or the Buck Tool, and you appreciate that information, that would be great if you, that would mean you're a Gao and not a sharpener if you learned in Japan. Okay, I don't even know what that means, but right on. What's the startup cost on the Buck Tool? If that's what you're asking, 140, 130, somewhere in that. Anyways, you guys have a great night. And have a happy holidays, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. Hope you get some time off. That's my favorite part about the holidays, and I will catch you on the flip side. Later.